Hi guys, I'm just making this video because I'm sure a lot of you have seen the video I added yesterday, which was a story from the BBC Science and Environment on the news website, and it was a story about geoengineering, and just one of the articles was saying that the 72% of the public have agreed to geoengineering. I'm just going to quickly explain to you what geoengineering is. Now, geoengineering is a way of making the sun stop shining on Earth and to reflect it away from Earth. That's what geoengineering is. And they're saying they're doing this because it's going to defeat global warming. And the thing is, global warming, no such thing. You know, we've always had changes in weather. It's perfectly normal. It's not for man to decide when the sun shines and when it doesn't. And at the moment here, it's a couple of weeks now, a few days until June. We're supposed to be coming into summertime, and the sky out there, total blanket white of clouds. Haven't seen any sunshine all day, and the time now is 4:30 in the afternoon. Haven't seen a ray of sunshine. It's just been totally white out there, and it's, you know, it's bright, but there's no sun. I'm going to quickly show you what I mean. That is what the sky has been like all day. Just like that. Not a single bit of sun. It's totally white, look. I'm going to zoom in. Nothing. No blue. Just white. That is a total whiteout, and it's been like that all day. Okay. So like I said, it's coming up for June, and it doesn't look like we're going to have any summer or any sunshine. And this story has just made me really angry, because for years now they have been calling people who have noticed spraying going on, they've been calling us conspiracy theorists, they've been calling us nuts. People have been sacked from their workplaces because they've been looking into this. People have been, you know, ostracised by their friends, their family, their work friends, because everyone has been just assuming they're a nutcase because it's out in the mainstream media, and they've made it look like anyone that's noticed this is an absolute freak. So, and there's a word going around, chemtard. You know, I want to say to all you people who put us down for noticing something, we saw a plane spraying and it stayed, we noticed it, and you all put us down. Mainstream media called us nuts, you know, and everybody went with that. Everyone that just listens and just goes along went with that, and they too thought that we were nuts. And at the same time, you've got stories on the BBC News website. At the same time, you've got stories on the BBC News website explaining to you what geoengineering does and how much it's cutting the sun away from Earth. And it was this picture here that totally, to be honest, pissed me off, right? So to all you people who think that those who are noticing the planes doing this, this is number 2, yeah? Atmospheric aerosols, yeah? That means they've got planes flying at a certain altitude, lower than where a contrail would form, which is what we have all been saying, and these planes are spraying out chemicals which are then making the sun bounce off them and go back into space. So they've even got in the picture here, you know, the haze that we see? Look at this. There's the haze. That's where they're spraying. This is a chemtrail. This is aerosol spraying. For all of you who say that it's not happening, this is a picture of geoengineering. All right? They say they're not doing this project, but they are, because we see them on a daily basis. There is no sun in the sky, so it's obviously all being reflected away by all this shit that they're putting into our sky. Right? And what's really wound me up about this, in the actual story itself, where they're showing this picture, I've printed it, it's the whole story. Stratospheric aerosols seem to offer the most effect for the least investment. So it's the cheapest way to block the sun, and it seems to offer the most effect. Well, it's going to, because if you put a blanket of crap across the sky and it's thick enough, you're not going to see the sun. So it's working. Okay, so stratospheric aerosols seem to offer the most effect for the least investment and could be deployed soon. People, it's being deployed now. If you see a plane leaving a trail and it's flying lower than contrails are supposed to form, it is a chemtrail. It's aerosol spraying. They're doing it so that the sun will reflect off whatever shit they're spraying out in the sky. So start this again. Sorry, this has made me really angry. And it's proof for us too, but it also makes me angry that they've put us down and called us nuts for so long, and at the same time it's hidden in plain sight on their website, right? So stratospheric aerosols seem to offer the most effect for the least investment and could be deployed soon, but present an unknown risk to the environment. So they themselves do not know what's going to happen to people and the environment where they're spraying all these metals into the air. And you know, when people say they're finding metal in their water, when people say they're finding metal in their blood, when people are getting ill, okay, and their kidneys and their livers are suffering because you're having to worked so much metal in your body, your liver and your kidney, they're working hard, okay? They're working harder than they usually do because they're trying to get rid of all these toxins in your body which are coming out of the planes, because they need a certain element to make sure that it goes back up into the sky. So the stuff that they're spraying is going to be metal. It's got to be some sort of metallic substance for it to have the light shine back off it. And if you check it, look how big the sky is. It's a lot of stuff they're having to spray. So when you see that haze all over the sky and there's no blue, it's aerosol spraying and it's come out of a plane, right? And I'm just loving the fact that I found that, and I can show you that picture of geoengineering being explained on the BBC News website for Science and Environment. And they're telling you that 72% of the public have said it's okay to do this in the UK, the US and Canada. Did they ask you if they could do it? Are you missing the sun in England this May? We haven't had any at all. We had about a week longer than that of just rain. Sometimes when there's heavy chemtrailing, there is rain. And then you don't want to go out your house and you don't want to get wet with the rain because you don't know what the hell is coming down onto you. So yeah, this is just, I think this is really good for us, the activists that have been fighting against this, and it's blatant proof that it is taking place, and it has been taking place for a long time, right? And I've also got, I did write to my MP and I got a reply back. It's just pathetic, to be honest. It got sent to DEFRA. My MP didn't even look into it. He just sent my letter straight to DEFRA. I'll just read a bit to you. I'm sorry to hear that Miss Noise's niece is having breathing problems. However, this will not be because of chemtrails. Let me reiterate that DFT has no evidence in the UK involving the release of aerosols from aircraft. I'll repeat that line. There is no evidence in the UK involving the release of aerosols from aircraft. All right? There are a number of theories about this subject on the web, but the Q&A fact sheet we produce sets out the known scientific knowledge in this area. So they're trying to tell me there is no knowledge of anything to do with aerosol spraying. That is aerosol spraying. That is geoengineering. And if the department, if DEFRA doesn't know about it, then it's just pathetic. Talk about there's no communication between departments, or if they need to know, they need to know. But it's pathetic. With regard to the Parliamentary report on the regulation of geoengineering, Science and Technology Committee, the report describes geoengineering as activities specifically and deliberately designed to effect a change in the global climate with the aim of minimising or reversing climate change. The committee considers that weather modification techniques should not be considered as geoengineering, has no long-term effect on the climate. So they're trying to say it has no long-term effect on the climate. Well, it does, because we haven't seen the sun and it's nearly June. It's supposed to be summertime. And I know sometimes we have crappy summers, but the sun shines and the sun is shining, but it hasn't been for the last few days and there's been no sun at all. So anyone feeling a bit down, a bit tired, a bit sleepy, a bit dozy, you've got no vitamin D in your system. You need to go and get some vitamins and put those in you so we can all stand and fight this crap. Right, so now I did recently write to the West Hertfordshire Hospital NHS, and I sent them a Freedom of Information request, and I asked them if they could send me information on people who had been admitted due to breathing difficulties and who had had to go to casualty or straight into ICU. And I did get a response back for them, which was really good. So they've given me, what they've sent me is an attachment, which I'll send you a copy. If anyone wants to see this, I'll send a copy. What they sent me was an attachment, and if you can see there, I'll read what it says as well. Patients admitted to the Trust since January 2008 to date on a month-by-month basis where respiratory problems, and in brackets, shortness of breath and other abnormalities of breathing, were identified as the primary diagnosis. So these stats go back to 2008. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. So if we look at this, so in January 2008, 22 people were admitted to hospital because they couldn't breathe. So if we look down in January 09, it was 12. In January 2010, it was 35. January 2011, it was 67. And in January 2012, 95 people were admitted to hospital because they couldn't breathe, or they had to go straight to casualty or ICU. So I'll say that again. So 2008, you had 22, and in 2012, you have 95. Let's have a look at February. In February 2008, you had 15. February 09, 18. February 2010, 48. February 2011, 64, and February 2012, 96. So we've gone from 15 in 2008 to 96 in 2012. Now March is the worst here. In March 2008, you had 19 people were admitted because they couldn't breathe with difficulties. They had respiratory problems. In March 09, we had 21. In March 2010, 42. In March 2011, it went up to 93 people couldn't breathe and had to be admitted to casualty or ICU. And in March 2012, 109 people couldn't breathe and had to be admitted to hospital. They were taken by ambulance or whatever. They were in casualty or ICU and they had respiratory problems. So that's just sick. Right, let's go later on in the year, because we know during the summer they spray a lot. It's like August, September, October. There's a lot of spraying going on. So in August 2008, we had 21 people admitted to hospital. 2009, we had 29 people. In August 2010, there was 53. August 2011, we had 78. This is just nuts, people. Let's look at April, month's just gone. April 2008, we had 25 people admitted to hospital because they couldn't breathe. In April 09, we had 27. In April 2010, there was 37. April 2011, 79. And April this year, and the stats which I received a few weeks ago, it's already 52. So it's already looking like it's going to be even worse. Let's check October, if I haven't already. October 08, 19. October 09, 58. October 2010, 74. October 2011, 127 people were admitted because they couldn't breathe. So 08 in October was 19. So we've gone from 19 people, right, to 127 people being admitted into hospital because they can't breathe. They've got respiratory problems. And I know this has got a lot to do with the shit that they're spraying, because if you check it, the stuff that they're having to put in the air to make the sun, the solar radiation, they're trying to reflect away. The stuff that they're having to put into these planes, right, to spray out, they're going to be like metallic stuff. It's going to have to be stuff that's reflective. Now, this kind of shit, right, is not supposed to be in the human body. It's not supposed to be going in our water. It's not supposed to be going in our blood. It's not supposed to be absorbed by us. We're getting lack of vitamin D, whilst also on top of that, we're getting shit on our chests. Have you wondered why you constantly get a cold and it goes and it comes back and it goes and it comes back? You'll give it to a member of your family, another one will get it, it goes around, it goes. You're constantly getting ill and getting this chesty problem. It's to do with what they're putting in the air. And they say themselves, you know, to do this, they actually say there is an unknown risk to the environment, right? They're talking about it being an unknown risk to the environment. What about us, people? What about humans? What about the children? Yeah, have they considered the effect, the long-term effect on this? Because they've been doing it for years, right? They've been doing this for a while. Okay, I only noticed it recently around my area, and I've lived here for 8 years, and to be honest, I've not noticed much spraying at all. And I look at the sky a lot. People know I film UFOs around here, and I've always enjoyed being outside in nature, and I do love the sky. But they started spraying heavily round here last year, definitely beginning of last year. And, you know, the statistics on here show that it's been happening round here, because this is just for my local health authority. And if you lot could all do a Freedom of Information Act yourselves and find out in your local area, because what I was able to do with the statistics they sent me, with these figures that they sent me, what I was able to do was go back to the videos that I'd taken, and I knew when there was heavy spraying in the area, and I can just go to the statistics here, and it shows when the spraying was heavy, people were getting ill, people were being admitted to hospital. And if you've seen my whistleblower video, we're all aware that the ambulance man from that video, he knew when they were spraying the stuff, people were being admitted. I've also heard there's a cab driver, and he has been taking a lot of children to hospital and people with breathing difficulties, and he tells people in the cab that he thinks that's what it is. Now, when we start saying that we think it's aerosol spraying or chemtrails, people just look at you and think you're a nutcase. But I want you guys to know that anybody who's noticed this shit going on, fair play to you, big ups to you, because you actually noticed something was going on, and this is what it was. It was geoengineering, all right? It was that. So when you see a plane going by and the plane is shooting that, it's an atmospheric aerosol, okay? So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been fighting this and noticing this and caring enough to do something about it. And for me, the fight has just begun, because this is blatant proof. And from now on, nobody's going to call me a conspiracy theorist, because this is fact, okay? It's factual. Geoengineering is a fact, okay? The only thing we don't know is what crap they're spraying down and what the end game to this is. Because I've heard a lot of stories, and I don't know if you lot have heard about the whole transhumanism agenda and all that. But I do believe there's something else in this, and that's what we need to get to the bottom of. But to all my fellow activists who've been out there and fighting this year, respect to you. And what we saw and what we noticed was true, and they've been trying to make out that we're crazy, but we're not, because we did notice something that's happening, and I think that's why slowly it's trickling into the public arena, because too many people are becoming aware of it. So I'm going to take this as a score for us, yeah? So it's 1 to the activists, 0 to the elite. So thanks, guys, and keep fighting.